Hello and welcome to this Tour de France explainer video, and in this video I'm going to explain why I've drawn what looks like a pair of underpants on this whiteboard. So I've seen a lot of people talking about recently the Tour de France because the most amazing race is here again, the Tour de France. The next 3 weeks we'll be witnessing the fittest, I believe the fittest human beings on the planet zooming around the roads of France, and the peloton, as it's called, will be taking up the road. So this is meant to be a road, and this is the shape of the peloton at a certain point in the stage. So when this video comes out, it probably will be the finish of stage 2, and the weather looked pretty terrible, and I don't know the results yet, so we're all waiting for that. But yesterday, Jasper Philipsen won, or Jasper Philipsen won stage 1 and is in the yellow jersey. But I saw people commenting maybe who don't quite understand what they're witnessing, and at points during the stage, because it's very stressful on stage 1 of the Tour de France, always has been, always will be, because there's always a worry of crashes, unfortunately, in bike racing, and that means that when it gets very stressful, when the camera is looking at the peloton of the race from the motorbike camera from out in front of the peloton can look like it's very wide across the road. So there's no space. So it's all the way from one gutter to the other gutter, all the way across the road, and there's absolutely no space. And I've seen people say that it looks like it's just a bunch of blokes out trundling, going slowly, and people have commented, or maybe they think because the peloton looks very wide across the road, therefore it's going slowly, and therefore everyone can ride at the front. So essentially this is what this diagram, this very crude diagram, so to speak, represents. So this is the front of the peloton, this is the back. So the race is going this way. So the start point was over here, and the race point, the finish is this way, and the start was this way. So as the peloton's going up the road, so if this is curb to curb, then the front of the race, essentially all the riders at the front, are all sort of lined up in a row. And no, this does not indicate that the race is going slowly when it's this shape. So this is generally quite often what the shape of the peloton was at points on stage 1 when it was going very fast. Okay, so the reason why, and yes, okay, so firstly, the peloton can look like this when it's going slowly, like at the beginning of the race, so in the neutralized section before the race has really got going, or if it's slow. But usually during the race, when you see it like this does not mean that the riders, if the riders are all side by side and it's curb to curb or gutter to gutter, that doesn't mean it's slow. Quite often, if it's like this, it is going. There's 2 top speeds that I would describe a professional race, and the Tour de France is the biggest race in the world. So the fastest riders go to the Tour de France. The strongest, only the strongest riders go to the Tour de France. So this is the cream of the crop, as they say, creme de la creme. So the reason why it's like this, and this is of the 2 top speeds, this is like when they're going the speed of sound. Okay, this is what it looks like. So when the riders are battling for position and it starts to look like this means that they're going, the peloton is going the speed of sound, okay? So not literally 750 miles an hour, but they're going very, very fast, okay? Because it's very nervous. So that might be if there's a crosswind section coming up. So if the wind is blowing across the road, then the teams want to make sure that they're at the front of the race, because when the wind is blowing across the road, it can cause the race to break up, because it's very difficult to ride your bicycle, your road bike, in a crosswind. It's like the effect of going up a hill, but because it's on the flat. If you are maybe a lighter rider, a small rider, you definitely don't want to be at the back, so the peloton could break up. Maybe if there's a tricky section of road coming up where there's roundabouts or there's corners and people might fall off, or there's maybe a climb coming up that you want to be well positioned for, then if it's going fast, then this is the shape it will be. So this is very scary when you're in a bunch like this. So I've been in road races, I've done road races when it's been a bit like this. Not at the level of Tour de France, but this is one of the scariest times that you can be in a bike race, because everyone's fighting for position to be at the front so that they're not at the back. And quite often if you see the speed that they indicate that the motorbike is going, they're probably going in the region of 35 or about 35 or 36 miles an hour quite often on the flat, without a tailwind pushing them. Just without wind assist, they can be going 35 miles an hour. So this is not what the peloton looks like when they're going slow. If they're looking like, if they're curb to curb, it's because the peloton is going very, very quickly and they're all fighting to be at the front, okay? So the fastest speed that the peloton, the shape that indicates the fastest speed that you'll ever see, is essentially when the peloton looks like this, okay? So when the peloton is like this, so again, if this is like the road, this is what the road is, so curb to curb, and this is the front of the race, and this is the back of the race, so we're going this way. If you see it like this, so we call that lined out, so if the race is lined out, this means that they're going the speed of light, okay? So if they're going like this is quite often when there's been a break, so a group of riders go up the road and the peloton has misjudged the speed at which the peloton needed to catch the break. So if it's getting near the end of the race and there's a group of riders still away and the teams are trying to chase that group of riders back, and it's in the less than 20 miles and there's still a minute or two, a few minutes gap, then there'll be teams that will get on the front and they will line it out. So they might do 40, 45 or maybe even 50 miles an hour on the flat without any wind assistance. And yes, that's, so this is the shape when they're going the speed of sound, and this is the shape when they're going the speed of light, okay? This is actually, I find, when I've been in a race, this is actually less scary, because when you just one rider behind each other, you can actually sort of see a bit more, and if something happens, well, I would say there's probably actually less chance. So this is also the shape of the peloton coming into a sprint finish as well. So if the race is in one long line coming into a sprint finish on the flat, then the sprinter teams will have their riders who usually, if they're on the flat, they're heavier, so they might be excess of 75 kilos, maybe even 78 kilos or more. So the heaviest riders in professional cycling usually, they do the lead outs, so they're very powerful and they can do 40 plus miles an hour on the flat for miles at a time. So yeah, this is fast, but I don't think quite as scary. If you're in one long line, there's less chance of people bumping into each other if they're just behind one after the other behind each other in a big long line. Whereas when it's like this, it's very fast and very scary, and you don't quite get an idea of what it's like from the helicopter shots or the motorbike shots. And there's actually a YouTube channel called Velon, or there's a company called Velon, and I think it's Velon, and they have videos on YouTube of bike cameras from inside of the race. So some of the riders, they have bike cameras on, and you can see they release some footage, and that gives, I think, a much better perspective of what it's actually like. So there you go. I hope this helps you understand the shape of the peloton and why it is the shape it is. And therefore, yeah, if you see riders across the road, it doesn't mean they're just out for a cafe ride or a social ride or just bimbling along doing nothing. It means they're going very fast. And if they're in one long line, it means they're going unbelievably fast. They're going the same speed as the speed of light. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for your time, and I hope you're enjoying the Tour de France. And if you enjoyed the video, I have actually other videos talking about how you can get lean. So not just if you're a cyclist, but if you want to get lean like I am. So I was 65 kilos this morning, and I promote a high sugar, low fat, low protein, vegan lifestyle. So that is enjoying cycling and being always lean so that you can enjoy going up the hills. And yeah, you might never be able to put out the same power as a professional cyclist. That might just be the way it is. But you can be as lean. Anyone can be as lean as a professional cyclist without needing to be able to ride your bike at 30 miles an hour for an hour. So check out my channel and see the adventures that I've been on. For example, I was here in the UK, I went on an adventure to the Lake District, which was incredible. And yeah, you'll be able to see that I'm always lean, and the sugar diet doesn't cause you to be diabetic. Sugar doesn't make you fat or diabetic, okay? So I'll see you in the next one, and thank you for your time.